We also have Dr. Krutika from Medilink, who is a dental surgeon providing basic treatment to the patients and schedules surgery appointments for the patients. From the KD Hospital, Dr. Sefali Desai, consultant breast surgeon who has taken her postdoctoral training from Stanford University Medical Center, USA. She is also a chief consultant surgeon and head of the breast care clinic and director of Samved Hospital for 20 years. Dr. Sefali is honorary breast surgeon and health and care foundation at Polio Foundation. We welcome you, ma'am. And lastly, we have Dr. Ankita Jain, consultant gynecologist at KD Hospital. She is a young and dynamic gynecologist. She is trained in laparoscopic and hysteroscopic surgery for 3 years in Mumbai and Taiwan. Warm welcome all the experts from Medilink Hospital and KD Hospital. I would like to invite Dr. Manish sir and Krutika ma'am for go further.
Ma'am, we are presenting slides or not?
No, we are not presenting. These are the questions.
Okay, ma'am. Yes. So my first question to Dr. Shefali ma'am. How common is breast cancer?
Thank you so much, Arpita, Swarnim University, Dr. Manish and Dr. Krutika, Medilink Hospital for having the KD Hospital and us on this panel today. We're going to have some interesting session, October being the Breast Cancer Awareness Month and November and September being the Gynec Cancer Awareness Month, which Dr. Ankita will cover up. So we are honored to be here today. So question is, how common is breast cancer? Well, breast cancer is fairly and highly common worldwide. It is the highest occurring cancer in women today, not only in the world, but India, Gujarat and Ahmedabad itself. And the incidence is increasing day by day. If you talk about the statistics of India in 2018, if you see the Indian Cancer Registry, there were about 1.75 lakh new cases which were registered. And it is said that 1 in every 20 women is likely to have breast cancer in their lifetime. This is the Indian statistics. But the way it is increasing, we are very soon going to reach the Western statistics, which says that 1 in 8 women is likely to have breast cancer in their lifetime. And the age of occurrence is decreasing day by day, which means that younger and younger women are getting breast cancer. The cancer which we were seeing at the age of 70, 80 started decreasing to 50, 40. And now we are seeing a lot of young girls in 20s and 30s. Who have breast cancer, and seeing all the young, the youth today participating, I think it's very important that we send this message to them, because what we are going to talk will very much apply to them.
Next question.
Good afternoon, madam. Nice to talk. Nice to see.
Yes. Hello, Manish. Yes.
To this particular breast awareness program. Are all the breast lump are cancerous? Yeah. How to approach to the breast lump?
Dr. Manish, I think this is a very, very good question, because there is a common fear that if there is any breast problem, then women fear that it is breast cancer. But the good thing is that only 20 to 30% of breast problems, I don't say lumps, different problems which we'll discuss, are cancerous. More than 70 to 80% are non-cancerous. So if you have any breast problem, there is no need to get scared. You must, of course, get yourself checked up from a specialist, but do not fear that it is cancerous. But do get yourself checked up to find out if it is cancerous or not.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next
Next
question.
question, Kritika.
Ma'am, what is the exact cause of the cancer and it is preventable or not?
Well, some of the risk factors are reversible, some of the modify, and some of the non-modify at least. What about you? Can you analyze what are the risk factors to aggravate the breast cancer?
That's correct. So the exact cause of breast cancer, like in most of the cancers, is not known. And there are lots of researches going on throughout the world to find out the exact cause. Otherwise, we would have been definitely be able to prevent it. But unfortunately, we are still into the research stage and still a lot of researches are going on. But as we say, there are a lot of risk factors. That means there are certain women who are more likely to have breast cancer. When I say women, let me just clarify one point here that males can also have breast cancer. We have many boys who have been participating today, which is a good thing. So of all the breast cancers we see, 1% is male breast cancer. And when it occurs in males, it is a little more aggressive because there is no knowledge of most of the people. They're ignorant that males can also have breast cancer, and the breast tissue in the male is very less.
Gynecomastia is a cancerous. Gynecomastia is just, I am talking about, there is a lot of the gynecomastia patient.
Yes. Yes. So the boys who have enlarged breasts, which we call gynecomastia in our medical terminology, they can have breast cancer. So if you have, if a boy has a breast enlargement, which is unusual, you must go and get yourself checked up. And if your doctor says you must get it removed. So talking about the risk factors in women, the most important factor is that if you are a woman, meaning you and I, anybody could have breast cancer. That means any woman can have breast cancer. I mean, it doesn't differentiate between caste or creed or any financial status, rural, urban, though it is said that it's more common in urban, but any woman can have breast cancer. As I said, age. The age which, as I was telling you, that age is decreasing gradually day by day. That means we are seeing younger and younger women. We see a lot of girls in their 20s and 30s who don't even suspect that they have breast cancer, and therefore they come with huge lumps and at an advanced stage. So as soon as you are 20, you should be aware. This is, remember, this is not to scare you, but make you aware that it can happen in any girl beyond 20. Then there are risk factors which are hormone related. See, the female hormones, the estrogen and progesterone, they are mainly responsible. It's the high estrogen level which is responsible for occurrence of breast cancer. This could happen in many different ways. If you have started your periods early, as we say, early menarche, or if a woman has had late menopause, then she has a more risk than the others. A woman who has not had children or has not breastfed her child or has had had child at a late age. You know, the modern, you all are young girls and boys. You know that career is very important for you. You believe in your career first, then marriages, and then having children at late age. These are all risks for having breast cancer. And once you get married at late age, the children also come at late age. So then there are infertility treatment. And with this infertility treatment, there are a lot of high estrogens are given. I'm sure Dr. Ankita will reiterate this. Then in between, there was a lot of rave about the hormone replacement therapy because women at menopause also, they want to remain young. And these are all high estrogen containing drugs. So these are all causing, giving a risk factor to the occurrence of breast cancer. Then there is a very minimal role, as Dr. Manish Bhai was rightly saying, that there are relative factors like environmental factors, the food factor. They say that fatty food can cause breast cancer, alcohol can cause, but they are relative risk. If you have a fatty breast, then there are more chances that you may not feel the lump or don't diagnose it that early. So fatty breasts are a little risk in that sense. But the most important factor is the hormonal influence, which causes some genetic mutation somewhere in our tissues, and that causes breast cancer. And I'm sure the modern day stress of the modern day woman plays a definite role in occurrence of breast cancer. સાદી ગુજરાતી ભાષામાં આપણે કહીએ તો ઘર વર અને છોકરાઓ અને આપણા જેવા વર્કિંગ અને એમ્બિશિયસ વુમેન હોય પોતાને પ્રોફેશનમાં જે અટવાઈ ગયેલા હોય એનું જે સ્ટ્રેસ હોય, that definitely plays a role in some hormonal manipulation. These are all the risk factors which I would think are important.
Smoking is one of the reasons.
Yes, smoking is the reason. Alcohol, which yes, the younger generation now in India also are, but these are all relative risks. Yeah.
Next question.
What do you do for the early detection?
Sir, madam, next question. What do you do for early detection? How to prevent it? What early detections? What?
Okay, Manish, this is also again a very good question. The usual question every woman asks is it preventable? So the answer is no, we cannot prevent because we do not know the exact cause. So the only solution is early detection. And how do you detect it early? That is the next question. So the early detection solution is breast self-examination. I'm sure most of you young girls and boys and the staff would be knowing about breast self-examination. There are a lot of awareness programs. And I think all of you search on the internet. Dr. Google is definitely a good doctor to teach breast self-examination. But I would like to tell you a few points which I would want to tell you as a breast surgeon how we advise breast self-examination so that you don't miss out. Number one is you should start breast examination as early as at the age of 20 years. Because as I said that it can happen even at the age of late 20s and 30s. So you should begin the breast self-examination as early as at the age of 20. When should you do it? 3 to 4 days after your periods are over, because at that time the breast is under the least hormonal influence. If there is a middle-aged lady who has had her uterus removed and or is menopausal, then you can choose any one day of every month, maybe first of every month, and start doing breast self-examination every month. And how you should do it is very important, the technique. The breast is arranged into circular, radially arranged units. So what you should do is not lift up the tissue between thumb and the finger, but you have to palpate with the flat of the hand. So we normally advise breast self-examination when you are taking a bath, when the breast is soft. Most of us always have a mirror in the bathroom, so you should first look at yourself. After when you are taking a bath, seeing for the shape of the breast, whether both are equal or not, whether one is retracted, whether there is nipple retraction, there is redness, if there is any ulceration. These are all the things that you should look for. Even if there is some dimpling, then that could be a sign of breast cancer. And while you are lying down, you should feel with the flat of the hand, with the 3 fingers. If see, this is the breast, then you should feel like this instead of lifting up like this. Otherwise, you will feel all the breast is lumpy and then you will unnecessarily get scared. So with the flat of the hand, go all over the breast, behind the nipple also, and check whether you feel any lump or not. Also examine the armpits, because if there is any lump which is cancerous, then it spreads into the armpits also. So you should always examine your armpits and also check for nipple discharge. So you should commonly look for a lump. See, whenever there is pain, usually it is non-cancerous. Painful disease is mostly hormonal changes. So a painless lump is more dangerous. So a lump which is painless. If there is nipple discharge, which is not clear and milky, but it is bloody, that is could be a sign of breast cancer. And ulcer, itching, some dimpling, retraction of the nipple, these are all signs of breast cancer.
Okay, ma'am, thank you. The next question is, even if you don't have any lumps or a problem, is a checkup or test is required or not? Or screening protocol, what are the screening protocols for that?
Yeah, so many a times women feel that they don't have a problem, so they should not get themselves checked up. The usual trend in our Indian mindset is that only go to the doctor if there is a problem. In the Western world, it's a very different mentality. Their health programs have a screening protocol. And we also, in our Indian setup, we have made our protocols, which many times are followed. Of course, times are changing, so many women do that. And these protocols are that breast self-examination should be started at the age of 20, as I explained to you. Then once we talk about investigations, Dr. Krutika, that will be the next thing that I'll be talking about. So the investigations and checkup. So checkup by a breast specialist or your expert gynecologist every year after the age of 25 or 30 years. After the age of 30 years, we also get a sonography done every year. And after the age of 40 years, we advise a mammogram also along with this every 2 years. And after the age of 50, every year we also, every year the mammogram should be done. So this is the screening protocol we advise, so that if there is any breast lump or even small lesion which we cannot feel, you cannot feel or we cannot feel, that can be detected by mammography or sonography much earlier. And if you detect the disease early, then we definitely can give you a cure rather than you coming at an advanced stage where we can't do anything.
Just you said mammography, it is safe for a routine checkup?
See, let us first discuss the investigations, because most of the boys and girls are young. They have heard about it, but what is mammography, what is sonography, what checkup should be done? So we'll cover that. So for, once you have done a breast self-examination, then if you detect something, then mostly the reactions, what we find is that there is a fear factor. If something happens, if it turns out to be cancerous. The second thing is ignorant. Something like Sadi Gujarati bhasha, "Apanne to shu thai shake." So then there is ignorance and there is shyness to go to the doctor because they have to get their breast checked up. So people do come at an advanced stage. These are the normal reactions. But when you come to us for a checkup, we with our expert acumen, we examine you and then we advise you for some investigations. So investigations are radiological investigations, means mammography and sonography. Mammography is an X-ray of the breast. You compress the breast between two X-ray plates, and this gives detection of very small lumps or some calcification which is seen, which are not even felt by the hands. And sonography is usually combined with the mammography or women under the age of 30-35 years, where mammography is not advised unless you have a family history. We do these investigations even earlier. And once we have a suspicion, sometimes we also get an MRI of the breast done, which is an advanced investigation. And if we have any suspicious lump that it is, we think that it could be cancerous, or mammography or sonography says that, then we send the patient for biopsy. Now, what is a biopsy? Biopsy means taking a chunk of tissue from that breast lump and sending for examination, which puts the final stamp on the diagnosis. So what we do is we do a sonography guided biopsy. This is the lump. You take a needle, which is under sonography guidance, put the needle and 2 to 3 times under local anesthesia. So it is not that painful. We take chunk of tissues and send it to the pathologist. So it is no longer an operation. In the previous year, for taking biopsy, we had to do a small surgery, but with the advancement of technology and surgery, we do something called a core biopsy, which is done with a specialized needle. And the report comes within 1 or 2 days. What results we get is whether it is cancerous or non-cancerous, what type of cancer is there. And then there are, since you are young boys and girls, you would know and you would have read Google. I'm mentioning 1 or 2 further points, is that there are something called estrogen and progesterone receptors and HER2 receptors. That information also we get with this biopsy result, which is important for the further treatment of breast cancer. And lastly, there are some genetic tests which are done, because many a times in 10 to 15% of the breast cancer cases, they run into the families. That means your mother, your grandmother, your sister, or even your daughter has had it and then you have it. So we also get some genetics tests done. So this is the biopsy and the genetic test. So these are the different tests. And there are certain myths about mammography, as you were rightly asking, Dr. Krutika. Some women believe that mammography can cause breast cancer, but let me tell you very, very firmly, mammography cannot cause cancer. It is a very, very low dose X-ray. And without that, it is impossible to stamp any breast lump as cancerous or non-cancerous, or without a sonography. And then there are a lot of myths about the undergarments that you wear, that if you wear an underwired bra or if you wear a black colored bra, is it likely that there are more chances of having breast cancer? But believe me, these are all external factors. They do not cause breast cancer. Breast cancer arises from within. Some genetic mutations occur. So no external factors cause breast cancer.
Ma'am, what is the incidence of genetic? जो genetic consider कर रहे हो आप कि hereditary आ सकता है?
Only 10 to 15% of breast cancers are hereditary or they run in the family.
Okay, ma'am.
The rest are sporadic occurrences. And I think in India, more of sporadic occurrences occur without family history, because this is a very common question asked by the women who come. कि हमको तो था ही, हमारे कोई फैमिली हिस्ट्री नहीं है, मदर को नहीं है, नानी को नहीं है, दादी को नहीं है, फिर क्यों हमको हुआ? But most of the cases are sporadic.
Okay.
And madam, next, what about the prevention, detection, diagnosis, and what is the treatment modality? How to treat?
Yeah, so once you have diagnosed with your biopsy and with radiological and pathological confirmation that it is cancer, then of course we have to go for the treatment of breast cancer. The treatment has had a lot of advancements. It is classified or divided into three heads. Number one is surgery. Number two, I'm sure most of you must have heard chemotherapy. I'll explain each one. And the third one is radiation therapy. These are the three headings under which any cancer is treated. So is breast cancer. So if it's an early stage disease, we always stage any cancer before treating it. So there are stages 1 to 4, depending whether the tumor is located or just restricted to the breast, or it has spread to the armpit, or it has gone all around into the liver, lungs, bones, elsewhere in the ovaries. So if it is an early stage, say stage 1 or 2 disease restricted only to the breast or maybe armpit, then we always go for surgery first, because we want to remove the cancerous tissue. Surgery also has had a lot of advancements. If the lump is detected early and it has not spread anywhere else, then not only can we save lives, but we can save breasts also. Which means that we do breast preservation or breast conserving surgery, which means that we only remove that lump and some surrounding margins around it, so that we don't leave any microscopic tissue inside the breast. And then we also do some sampling of the axillary lymph nodes and send it for biopsy at the time of surgery, confirm that everything is removed, which is called the frozen section biopsy. And because we preserve the breast, that breast has to be given radiation therapy. But a very important aspect of the woman's side is preserving the breast. So breast is a very important organ. It's an organ, it's a sign of and a symbol of beauty, womanhood, motherhood, and above all sensuality. So I think it's an organ of pride and dignity. So any woman would like to preserve her breast. So breast conservation is a very big invention which has happened from Italy, and we practice it in and out because now we get a lot of early cases. But if the tumor is large, if the patient comes in advanced stage, still in India, many times these kind of cases come. Many times the patient doesn't want radiation therapy. Then what we do is still remove the breast. And sometimes even if the lump is large and it is localized to the breast, at stage 3, which is in between, what we do is give the chemotherapy, which is the second arm. We give chemotherapy first, which are intravenous injections, which kill the cancer cells. And they go into the whole body. If there are any microscopic spread anywhere else, it kills them and reduces the size of the breast tumor. So we shrink it from stage 3 to stage 2 or 1 and then operate and still preserve the breast. That is called neoadjuvant chemotherapy. So chemotherapy is, if you operate, normally it is given afterwards in early stage, but in stage 3, we give it before, downstage the disease and then do the surgery. And radiation, as I said, is after breast preservation, or if the lump is very large or there are huge lymph nodes or it has spread elsewhere. And even after you have removed the breast, there is a lot of hope, because we have our plastic surgery and reconstructive surgeons with us where we reconstruct the breast. Most of the times, especially you younger generations, you want to reduce your weight, have a perfect figure. But let me tell you, sometimes the abdominal fat is useful. So don't be like embarrassed if you have a huge tummy, because breast cancer, when the breast is removed in breast cancer, we put the fat from the abdomen and reconstruct the breast. So the patient has a feeling that there is breast still present. It's again a huge psychological benefit. And sometimes we take flaps from behind our shoulder and then put. So these are local tissue which we replace and reconstruct the breast, matching the opposite breast. And many a times we use implants. Usually we use silicone implants. We use a combination of silicone implant and the muscles of the woman herself. And these are all reconstructive surgery. So there are lots of advancement in breast surgery. So this is all about breast cancer treatment overall.
Thank you, ma'am. And the next question is, once treated, can you have a cancer again, the recurrence chances?
That's a very, very important question again, Dr. Krutika, because many a times women feel that the treatment is over, so just forget it, and they sleep at home doing nothing, and they come after years with a recurrence. So our protocol is initially we do a 3-monthly clinical checkup and a 6-monthly sonography, blood tests, some x-rays and sonography of the abdomen to see whether it has spread or not. And every year we do a mammogram. Only if required, there is a whole body scan, which is called a PET scan, which scans the whole body. We can do it every year. So every 6 months, we do a follow-up protocol, because cancer, once it happens, even if it is early and a good cancer, it can happen again. Again, this is not to scare you, but make you aware that once you have cancer, you can have it again.
Thank you, ma'am. Lots of the questions from my side. Some of the we are seeing of the some of the accessory nipples. It's not cancer. Some of the patient having a complaint, discharge from the accessory nipples.
Yeah.
So should we go? Should we get the mammography or not?
See, the nipple discharge, there are two different types of discharge. It could be pathological or physiological. So if it is pathological, if it's just a single duct discharge, a copious discharge, whether it's bloody or serous, if it's a single duct discharge, you must get investigated with the cytology and a sonography if it's a young patient. If she's about 35, you can get a mammography done. And if it is copious, then what we do now is introduce an endoscope, a very thin endoscope, which we call ductoscope. I visualize under direct vision. If there's a small papilloma, then I put a circumarular incision and remove that duct which is discharging, and then send it for biopsy.
Thank you, madam. You have covered. And what about? I'm going to take a message. First question was, how common is breast cancer? Breast cancer is much of the most common cancer in women. After the lungs, you can make of that. Are all the lumps cancerous? Not at least all the breast is doubtful. I think we should get some of the self-examination. I think we should focus on the self-examination. Everybody should know. Age of the 20, 21, because of the breast cancer, and what about they are become more younger to younger. We are talking about. What do you for early detections? Definitely, unique prevention is better than cure. આપણે રોકાઈ શકાય છે, પ્રિવેન્ટ કરાઈ શકાય છે, અને આપણા ઝૂમ મીટિંગ રાખવાનું પર્પસ શું છે કે we can educate more and more younger of them, because we are seeing of the more younger, particular the in between 35, 40, only you take over obese, who are diabetic, who are smoking, family history, genetic history, unknown. Still there is a lot of the factors. Some of the factors are modified, some of the factors are not modified. Still, we are not knowing the exactly cause of the breast cancer. When do you go for the checkup? Definitely, you told nicely, age of 20, with the early menarche, late menopausal, multipara, what about? I think they should get the routine self breast examination is a must. I think they go consult with the gynecologist, and examination is a must of the this particular. Even you don't have the lump problem, that is a must. Some of the protocol of the still we are not having our own guidelines, but some of the protocols of the age of 20 who are having the family and obese, having breast, any doubt of they should get the early, they should get the self-examination, mammography, or sonography. What about your protocols? What is the treatment? You spoke very well. What about the surgically of the early stage? We can do the surgically preserve the this chemotherapy and some of the radiotherapy. Once treat, it can be at least one of periodically. We should get every 3 monthly with our doctor. And lastly, what is a take-home message? Is from my point of view, I'm practicing diabetology. Type 2 diabetes are 2 to 4 times more is the breast cancer. Most of the diabetic patients, they are obese. We can make obesity with a very well, 8 to 10% of diabetic patients, they are having the some of the different type of the cancer. In women, they are more particular the breast cancer. Type 1 diabetes, they are more particular cervix cancer. We will discuss later on. So all should know what is the definition of the breast, of the B stand for the breast mass. I think we should make of the breast mass. R stand for retractions. If the nipple is retractions, we should consult with your doctors. E stand for the edema. It is some of the having the some of the edema, your fluid discharge. A stand for the axillary mass. They are feeling of the abnormal axillary lymph nodes, and they will want to abnormal mass during the examinations and during the take the bath. I think all the young women, they should get the self breast examination. Scaly nipple is scaly, and tender breast. These are particular. I'm going to again of the breast, BEAST. B stand for the breast mass, R stand for the retraction, E stand for the edema, A for axillary mass, S stand for the scaly nipple, and T stand for the tender breast. Are you agree with me, sir, madam?
Yes, absolutely. Dr. Manish Bhai, you have said it completely. You have summarized everything. And one line I would just like to add, at KD Hospital, we have a complete breast unit where we do a complete checkup of all what I mentioned with a complete women's team. So I think you have presented the summary in an excellent way. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for any questions.
Thank you, ma'am.
Arpita. Our next speaker, Dr. Ankita Jain, and she is going to the talk and she is going to highlight inside the cervix cancer, the breast, and the most cancer, cervix cancer, how to prevent, how to treat, and so particular. Please, Ankita.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. I am Dr. Ankita Jain, consultant gynecologist and obstetrician at KD Hospital. It was a very nice discussion on breast cancer by Dr. Shefali Desai, madam. Now I will be touching on the next most common women cancer. Cervical cancer, if you've heard of, is the second most common cancer that is found exclusively in females, specifically in females. So cervical cancer we will be discussing in a bit. Another cancer, yes, ovarian cancer is also highly prevalent in women. But today we will be limiting our discussion to everything about cervical cancer.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, hi.
Let's discuss about the second most common cancer in Indian women, the cervical cancer. What exactly is the cervix, and what is the cervical cancer?
Exactly. So as you have seen, everybody is very much aware of the breast and the breast cancer. Obviously, it is common, but awareness is also much high regarding the breast cancer. lot of celebrities supporting breast cancer foundations, getting surgeries or treatments done just so that the layperson, the common man, is very well aware that there's such a thing called breast cancer. With cervical cancer being so common, it is so common, you would say 1 in 50 Indian women have the risk or get cervical cancer, which in breast cancer is 1 in 20, high, very high. So cervical cancer doesn't have much awareness. So cervix is the lowermost part of the uterus. So uterus hai, which is in Hindi we called it the bachedani or garbhashay. So that is the organ which supports the pregnancy. Uterus ke andar the pregnancy grows. Uterus is also the organ jahan se you get your every month periods. So the female reproductive tract is made up of mainly the uterus ka lower part, the cervix, and the vagina. And on the sides, we have the fallopian tubes and ovaries. So cancer of all these places can occur specifically in women, of which most common is cervix that we are discussing. So the lowermost part of the uterus is called cervix. Now this you may have heard in common language like delivery का रास्ता, कि डिलीवरी जब होती है तो उस समय जो मुख खुलता है, बच्चेदानी का मुख खुलता है, cervix opens up and the delivery happens. So that is how usually people understand a bit what the cervix is. So the cervical cells undergo changes. The type of cells keep on changing very rapidly every month under the hormone influence that is happening because of your hormonal period cycles. So that changing cells are very much susceptible to becoming cancerous. Now there is one thing called a human papilloma virus. इसको हम कहते हैं HPV. So this virus, if a woman is infected by that through sexual transmission from males, so if a woman is infected and the virus grows and starts replicating in the cervix, if the nutrition is not good, if the woman is immunosuppressed, immunity kam hai unki, so these conditions, there is the virus stays chronically, and then it can convert the cervical cells into cancerous cells. So this is cervical cancer in a nutshell, what exactly it is.
Next.
That was exactly we make cervix and cervix cancer. Now we are going to discuss prevention is better than cure. We're going to, I think, what increase the risk factor. So some of the modified, some of the non-modified. So you should focus on what about the risk factor to aggravate the cervical cancer.
So all sexually active women do have the risk of breast cancer. Breast cancer bahut ho gaya, cervical cancer. All sexually active women have a very high risk. Very, very low chances if the woman is not at all or has never been sexually active, because majorly the cancer is caused by the HPV infection. So early age of sexual activity initiation, 16 hai, 18, even earlier than 16 if somebody is sexually active. So there is an increased time in which you can get infected with the HPV. So early age of activity, early pregnancies, you know, if somebody is getting married early or otherwise having pregnancies at the age of 18, 20, or multiple pregnancies, 2, 3, 4, that these increase the risk of having cervical cancer. Also, poor hygiene, poor nutrition, any immunocompromised state, जिसमें immunity कम होती है, even your AIDS है, diabetes है, all these immunocompromised states, उसमें भी, because the body cannot fight the infection well, so the infection stays in the body and then causes cervical cancer. Smoking, yes. So this cancer is mainly or more of found in the developing countries. You would not believe, but India accounts for almost 25% of the global burden of cervical cancer, being a developing country. So because these factors that I just talked about, yes, most of them are modifiable, are prevalent, highly prevalent in the developing countries. So these are the risk factors.
Okay, ma'am. My next question is, what are the symptoms of cervical cancer and how does one know that they have a cervical cancer?
Now, see, as madam always says, it is very easy to check for your breast cancer because it is so, you know, that is one cancer that a patient can look for themselves. आप अपने आप check कर सकते हो. But in the cervix, as I told you, the biggest challenge is people don't know what it is, cervix, cervical cancer. So checkup is a far thing. So, the other challenge is cervical cancer per se does not have any specific symptoms because it may have discharge, white discharge, which is a very, very common, like the most common complaint of Indian women, foul-smelling discharge. Sometimes irregular bleeding may happen, like apart from your period days, you may have bleeding in between. You may have what we call post-coital spotting or bleeding. So after intercourse, अगर cervix में कोई lesion है and relation के बाद अगर bleeding है या spotting होती है, that could be one of the symptoms of cervical cancer. But apart from that, early stage में there are no specific symptoms of cancer. Of course, once it is advanced and spread to the body, that's a different scenario. Sorry, your question was symptoms and how can a woman know exactly. So we have a very good screening test for cervical cancer. It is called the Pap smear test. इसमें क्या होता है? We examine you from below. Now, though cervix awareness is not much, but doctors can easily see the cervix. Once we put a speculum inside the vagina, the cervix is easily accessible to us. So we just look at the cervix and we run a brush or a spatula. We take a swab of the cervix. Now, in the case of times of COVID, everybody is very much aware of swab lena hai. So yes, cervix पे से we take a swab. Then we spread it on a simple glass slide. First spread करते हैं. We fix the smear with a fixative. Then it is sent to the laboratory. In the lab, it is checked under the microscope to determine whether ये जो cervical cells that have been picked up from the cervix by the spatula, are they all normal? Are the changes happening that are normal? Or is there any chance of, is there any early cancer signs? So this Pap smear is very simple, cost effective, very cheap, easy test to know whether you have even early cervical cancer without any symptoms. So all women, it is recommended by the American College that all women should undergo Pap smear every 3 years. Even if आपने आज कराया टेस्ट और वो नॉर्मल आता है, इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि आगे कोई तकलीफ नहीं हो सकती है. Because it is a very, very slow growing cancer. So yes, if you repeat the test after 3 years, that is also good enough. You don't need to do it every year. There's another test जिसको हम कहते हैं HPV DNA, in which the DNA of the virus is looked for. Similarly, ऐसे ही swab लिया जाता है, but we check for the DNA. So if you're doing Pap smear plus HPV DNA, then you can increase your testing interval to 5 years. 5 साल में एक बार आप टेस्ट करें. So starting from the age of 25, not earlier than that, every 3 years Pap smear or 5 years Pap smear plus HPV DNA is advised for all sexually active women till the age of 65. 65 की एज तक अगर आपके लास्ट 3 टेस्ट्स नेगेटिव हैं, then you can stop the testing. But this is a cancer mainly of the reproductive age group women, that is 18 to 45 वाला age group है जिसमें कैंसर काफी commonly पाया जाता है. तो Pap smear is advised for all sexually active women above the age of 25.
I think we should go to along with the mammography and Pap smear.
Exactly. Yes.
Because of the both are in particular the younger same age group of the 25 to 45. So I think we should make of the one combo package. I think it must be use of the combo package with the memo with the Pap smear will be good.
Definitely.
So what do you have, madam? What are the cervical? Once person is going to the cancer, how to treat by the surgical, chemo, or radio? What will be?
Exactly. So cervical cancer, like any cancer, we have different stages. Stage 1 is a very early stage when the cancer is confined only to the cervix. Stage 2 may it spreads to the uterus. 3 may it spreads to the sides, जैसे vagina है. And stage 4, of course, it has spread to the rectum है and far away in the body. So if we catch it in the early stage, it is possible to do conservative surgery, in which there is a thing called colposcopic resection. If the cancer is not spread widely, colposcope एक special type का microscope होता है, उसमें अलग light filters होते हैं. उसके through cryosurgery, we can remove that lesion and the uterus is saved. No other surgery may be required in very, very early cases. In this slightly advanced, there are surgeries जिसको हम कहते हैं hysterectomy, uterus removal वाला surgery, but it is not the usual hysterectomy that is done for fibroids or any other non-cancerous conditions. इसको हम कहते हैं Wertheim hysterectomy. Of course, उसके भी अलग-अलग types रहते हैं, जिसमें uterus, ovary है, tube है, plus side का आजू-बाजू का tissue है. Everything is removed. Then this cancer responds very well to radiation, and there are a few chemotherapy, जैसे cisplatin-based drugs होती हैं, they are also used. So yes, if the cancer is detected, depending on stage, we can go for surgery, radiation, or chemotherapy.
Can you, ma'am, tell me about the something cervical cancer vaccines that can prevent?
Madam, what about in Indian scenario is a vaccination is a very important. What I am talking with adult vaccination. I am practicing as a diabetologist. All my diabetic patients are immunocompromised. They should take the vaccine of the influenza vaccine, hepatitis B vaccine, or pneumococcal vaccination. So still is a young generation, particularly young age, and with the reproductive age, they are not knowing prevention is better than cure. And still is a vaccination का मतलब है कि बच्चों का वैक्सीन होता है, MMR, पोलियो, मीजल्स, पल्स, but nobody is knowing. Even the अपने Indian guidelines में high need is typical of the Indian guidelines. What is the adult vaccination? I am telling all my diabetic patients कि आपको hepatitis B vaccination लेना है, क्यों you are going to rapid blood monitoring करते हैं, rapid test जाते हैं, ये जाते हैं, you should get hepatitis B vaccination, influenza vaccines to prevent the particular COVID pandemic, the pneumococcal vaccination, ये सब vaccination तो आपको पता ही नहीं है, आप तो treat कर दो, दवा दे दो और ये दे दो हमको. So we have to focusing what about you seeing if that is a human HPV virus, it can prevent by the vaccination of the Judy Kavach prevention and cure. How to prevent the cervix cancer by the vaccination? Who focus on vaccination?
Definitely, that is a very good point that you have raised, Dr. Manish. India में vaccination मतलब बच्चों के लिए ही, adults don't need vaccine. That is the general मान्यता what we say. But this is one of the few cancers that can be prevented by a vaccine. Imagine, लोगों को जब कैंसर होता है हम यही सोचते हैं कि अरे ऐसा तो क्या किया, I do not drink, I do not smoke, मेरी तो कोई खराब आदतें नहीं है, मुझे कैसे कैंसर हो गया. लेकिन हमें प्रिवेंट करने का यहाँ पे तो एक एक्चुअली we have एक साधन है हमारे हाथ में, तो उसकी तो अवेयरनेस होनी बहुत जरूरी है. ऐसे आप देखने चाहे तो this, as I told you, majority of the cases are caused by the HPV, the human papilloma virus. क्योंकि वो इन्फेक्शन के थ्रू होता है तो हमारे पास एक वैक्सीन है उस इन्फेक्शन, उस वायरस के सामने. जब वो इन्फेक्शन ही नहीं होगा तो कैंसर के रिस्क बहुत 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 कम हो जाएगा. If you are aware, even stomach cancer and liver cancers are caused by infections. तो जैसे liver cancer के लिए HBsAg as you talked of, so these are the vaccines which prevent the infections and hence the cancer. तो इनकी अवेयरनेस तो हमें जरूर से फैलानी चाहिए. Now coming to HPV, in our country, yes, we don't have guidelines as of now. Indian वो immunization schedule में अभी है नहीं, but there are some countries in Europe, I think it's in Switzerland, where they mandatory have this for all children, including boys and girls. Because actually, if you see the infection the women get from the males, males may have warts, HPV. मेल्स में वॉट्स जैसी बीमारी कर सकता है, बट नॉट दिस टाइप ऑफ कैंसर जो कि विमेन में होता है. सो आइडियल, इन एन आइडियल वर्ल्ड वी वुड वैक्सीनेट ऑल चिल्ड्रन, men, boys and girls by the HPV vaccine. But 9-10 is a good age to start the vaccine. Say लेके 20, 25, 26 is the age where it is recommended कि 9 to 26 में we should aim to vaccinate the children or young adults. ये वैक्सीन दो टाइप की अवेलेबल है अभी तो एज ऑफ नाउ कॉमनली. एक है गार्डासिल नाम की, जो दो मोस्ट कॉमन सबटाइप्स हैं एचपीवी के 16 and 18, उनके सामने प्रोटेक्शन देता है. और दूसरा रहेगा सर्वेरिक्स इज फॉर 16 and 18 and Gardasil is for 16, 18, 6, 11. तो बेसिकली 4 मोस्ट कॉमन सबटाइप्स के सामने वो प्रिवेंशन करेगा. These vaccines have 3 doses. That is, if you take 1 dose today, another dose is after a month, and the last dose is after 6 months. So in 6 months' time, your vaccination, HPV vaccination schedule is complete. Each dose costs around 3,500. It is very painless. It does not have, even if you have not started your periods, if you are 10, 11 years old, you can take the vaccine. If you are having your periods, you can still take it. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि आपको periods के बाद या किसी समय special time पर लगवाना है. So vaccine is very important to get all women vaccinated before they become sexually active. Now there's another question कि once a woman is sexually active, say 30-35 की age में, should she take the vaccine? Now there's obviously no harm in taking. Benefit would be slightly less cancer prevention ka, because she's already been exposed to the virus. But HPV can also cause anal warts. So apart from the cancer, दूसरी भी बीमारियां ये cause करता है virus, तो उनके against protection जरूर रहेगा. And there is one very, very important point that I would like to still emphasize on. Even if you have taken the vaccine, the complete course at a young age, you have taken the vaccine, still, once you turn sexually active and above 25, you must get your mandatory 3-yearly pap smears done. There is, as of now, no replacement for the pap smears. Yes, why to do the pap smears agar vaccine liya hai to? Because as I told you, vaccine protects against 2 or 4 of the subtypes of the virus, which are most common, agree. But cervical cancer can be caused by up to hundreds of HPV virus subtypes. So the less common ones hai, vaccine does not cover those. Therefore, even vaccinated women should undergo the pap smears. Because ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि हम vaccine लेके एकदम निश्चिंत हो गए कि हमें तो कुछ नहीं होगा, and then something turns up, because then we are more complacent that nothing will happen to me and you don't go for your pap smears. So ये नहीं होना चाहिए. Even if vaccine लिया है, you should get your pap smears done.
The next question is, who should get the vaccinated?
Exactly. So ideally, you can begin at the age of 9, 10. All girls, all boys should get vaccinated. Why do we advise vaccination in a young age? Because anyways, they are not sexually active. Abhi se kya dene ka zarurat hai? So it is important because the immune response of the body towards the vaccine is best in the childhood, one. And second, yes, they are not at all, not yet sexually exposed. Because in many cultures, we have seen 15, 16 ki age pe they are either married or sexually active. So we have to vaccinate them early. So we can start at from the age of 9 up till the age of 25, 26 is best.
Any questions from audience? Arpita? Arpita, you are unmute.
Yes, sir.
Any questions from audience? I think that will be very good interactive. And we have the 2 eminent speakers. One is Dr. Shefali Madam and Dr. Ankita. And questions from the audience, I think that will be.
Yes, sir. We don't have any questions just now. So I would like to invite our Honorable MD, Global and Women Entrepreneurship and Development Cell, Ms. Nikita ma'am, for vote of thanks.
There are no questions, and we understand that we've spoken very well, I think.
Definitely. Yeah.
Hello.
Congratulations to the Shefali Madam and Ankita, and both covered very nicely. It is what I think. Take a message from the young woman, sexually active age of 20, and every 3 yearly we should get the mammography and pap smear should be done to prevent the breast and cervix cancer.
Right, sir.
And I think for the cervix cancer, I think we should get the vaccinations of the month of the gardeners already madam has told. 3 doses of the vaccination of the 0, 1, and 6. First dose at now, and second dose should be after 1 month, and third dose should be after the 6 months of the vaccinations of the. It is going to cover the 2 to 3 subtype of the particular the human, because the most culprit is a virus, is a human papillomavirus, is a culprit of the cervix cancer. So all the young women age of 10 years up to the 30, 35 of the sexually active, they should get vaccinations. Madam, particular, if you want to take a message regarding the cervix cancer. Madam, Shefali Madam.
I think what Ankita has said is perfect, and what you have said, I think we're all done. Yeah. I'm sorry I interrupted Nikita ji, but I think you should continue with it. Yeah.
That's absolutely fine, ma'am. And thank you very much. Sorry for being late. I was in between something. So I really like to welcome you again, you all, at Swarnim Startup and Innovation University. We would like to acknowledge our gratitude to Dr. Manish Agrawal sir, Dr. Krutika ma'am from Medilink Hospital, Dr. Shefali Desai, Dr. Ankita Jain from KD Hospital for an enlightening presentation on the breast cancer and other common cancers in women. And I like to extend my thanks to all the students, HODs, principal, faculty members of Swarnim Startup and Innovation University to join this session and encouraging us for conducting an awareness program on such an important issues. Ma'am, you have briefed that lot, but now the generation are up to the things which are you actually exposing to us. So I just hope this session was useful for all of us and for the general awareness, because the point you guys mentioned, you doctors mentioned us, is like very rare and it's not up to the knowledge. And अभी तक जितना भी हम लोगों को जनरेशन को बताना है वो उस प्रॉपरली एक्यूरेट नहीं पहुंच पाते हैं उनके पास. तो ये एक चीज ऐसी है कि जो आप गिफ्ट करा, आगे जाके वो फर्दर भी अपने फ्रेंड से, अपने कलीग से डिस्कशन करेंगे और इस एंड फर्दर चीजों के बारे में एक्सटेंड करेंगे, तो उससे हम लोगों को कुछ हद तक एक अच्छी शुरुआत मानी जा सकती है. So I really wholeheartedly welcome you all here at Swarnim University. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you once again, the Shefali Madam, Ankita. Thank you, the Swarnim University. Thank you, the Arpita. I think we should keep the couple of the program, such way of the program. I think month of the number, we are going to celebrate the diabetic month. I think we are seeing a lot of the type 1 diabetes. I think we should get the next month type 1 diabetes. How to type 1 कैसे prevent कर सकते हैं, कैसे रोक सकते हैं या उसको रोके, self monitoring, insulin initiation of this particular. I think we can keep of the even polycystic ovary disease. We are seeing of a lot of the polycystic ovary disease. They are not knowing young female. They are coming with the me having the some of the obese and. So is there we can keep up such type of the programs.
Definitely, sir. Definitely, sir. We are still, and Swarnim is always for you.
So I'll be very happy if the youth of today carries our message to the others, so that this awareness is spread exponentially more and more, because finally the youth represents the society.
Exactly.
So you are our leader.
Bilkul, definitely.
So great.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam.